Hello, today I'm going to show you how to change a transmission fluid, a WS transmission fluid on Toyota. In our case, I'm going to show you how to do this on Toyota Camry 2011. A close-up look of the engine so you can compare to what you have. It's a dual VVTi 2.5 engine of 2011 Toyota Camry. As you can see, there is no dipstick to check the transmission fluid, so I will walk you step by step. As you can see right there, the transmission fluid oil cooler. So first thing I'm gonna show you the tools that you need. Well, before even tools, let me show you. First, you would have to get your car off the ground. Let me zoom out so you can see it off the ground. Make sure get it high enough so you have enough room to work under your car. I didn't raise it enough, and make sure it's whatever you have. Measure the distance when the car is on the ground level, front and the back. If it's 6 inches off the ground, then when you get it when you lift the car up, make sure it's six plus the extra height in the front, extra height. So if it's 6 inches up front and you raise it 3 inches, that means 9 inches up front. And then if it's usually 10 inches in the back, and if you raise it 10 inches, that means you should have 13 inches in the back, proportionally. You don't want to have it level front and back, unless it is level. But in my case, 2011 is not level. So one of the things, since the wheel is off, you would have to get to the transmission. I'm going to zoom in. This is your refill plug. There is 2 little bolts. There's little plastic cover using 10 millimeter. You take it off, and there is your refill plug bolt. And the size is, I think it's 24. I will let you know later exactly the size of this bolt. So this is your refill, where you would have to add your WS transmission fluid on 2011 and up to your Camry. Let me show you your drain plug, because you need to have that in order to able to change your transmission fluid. So hopefully I can zoom in close enough for you to see it. Right there. This is your transmission drain plug, and same plug will be used to adjust your transmission fluid, or there is an overflow tube. That plug right there that I'm showing you, the drain plug, it's a 6 millimeter hexagonal tool, wrench, whatever you want to call it. Show you the tools, parts you're gonna need. We'll start with a oil drain pan, container, whatever you want to call it. Make sure you have enough rags. You're going to need empty containers so you can measure your fluid, your old fluid, how much came out, so you have roughly idea how much you have to put it back. So I'm using 3 quarts of old containers. You're gonna need a funnel, because you're gonna need something to put it back into containers. You're gonna need either funnel or a pump, some kind of something to transfer the fluid back to transmission when you're gonna be refilling. A torque wrench, a brake bar, sockets. You're gonna need a 10 millimeter socket to remove the plastic cover. Like I said, you're gonna need 24-inch socket to remove refill plug. It's a big size, so make sure you have it. You're gonna need hexagonal wrench set. I have a short and I have a long. Not sure which one I will end up using the most. I know I'm gonna need short for sure to get under it to remove the drain plug. Next thing, you're going to need infrared thermometer, because you would have to measure the temperature of transmission oil pan. Well, I'll show you, and I will talk to you later about it, what exactly it's in details needed. According to the manual, Toyota manual, repair manual, you're gonna need about 3 quarts of WS ATF. 3 quarts if you're removing the oil pan. In our case, we just drain and fill, so I'm not sure exactly if it's going to be 3 or a little bit less than 3. But to be on the safe side, I bought it 4 quarts. I don't want to be going back to the dealership and trying to find an extra quart if I need it. Remember, write it down this part number. You're going to need this tool. So I'm going to zoom in. There is a website online. If you type it in the part number, you will find there's only one place that I found that sells this particular tool. You're going to need this to check actually, to activate temperature mode for your transmission in your car. Gasket. Write those numbers down. This is one gasket. This one is for your drain bolt. Right there. The next gasket. Actually, this is not your drain. This is for your refill plug. It's bigger. Write the numbers down so you can compare when you order your stuff. Make sure it matches. This is for your drain plug gasket, and there's another set of gaskets. There's only one gasket you need, but they gave me 3 gaskets, so I'm not sure. We'll find out if we need 3 or if we need just 1. I think there's just 1 gasket for overflow tube. There's a little tube, tiny tube, I'm not sure, maybe 5-6 millimeters in diameter, that would have to come out in order to drain all the fluids. So I think this is it for now. So I'm going to set the camera rolling, and we're going to get under the car, get the oil, drain pan, and see how much fluid comes out and what color. Even it's not recommended to change until, like, they say it's for life. Well, Toyota hasn't defined what's life for life. Is that means 60,000 for the life of transmission, 120,000, $500,000? Well, if it's for life, they should be giving owners a lifetime warranty on transmission if it's for life. But they're not. They know you're going to be back in the shop right after about 100, maybe even before 100,000. So okay, let's start draining and see what we get. Now I'll be going under the car and pulling the drain plug, and we'll see how things go, what fluid comes out. And the process is not difficult, but it takes time and patience. Take your time, don't rush. So there's a little bit of fluids coming out. I'm not sure if you can see it or not. Let me show you the drain plug for the 6mm hex. Do not replace this gasket until you're completely done, after you check your fluid, and then you'll be able. So fluid's coming out slowly. Not sure if you can see it. I'll try. Yeah, it's hard to see, not enough lighting up there, but you can see it's darker color. All the fluid is drained. As you can see, it's black. It's not even red as it's supposed to be, or pinkish color. It's almost pretty much as dark as used engine oil when it comes out. You know, about 4 or 5, maybe 7,000, depending how often you change. And earlier I mentioned, for all the fluid to come out, you gotta remove there's a little tube using 6mm hex. So I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. This is the tube that comes out using the same hexagonal branch, and this is it. same as your drain plug, same size as this thing. There has to be, I think, an O-ring, because I got the O-rings. I'm not sure where these O-rings would go. I'm gonna check inside the oil pan, see if I can see if it's got stuck there, or more likely it goes in, slides, and become somewhere up to here. From here to there it slides, and it creates a seal, so fluid does not come out when we're going to be checking. Make sure there's enough fluid in the transmission. It's very small, tiny, what I would say like 1.5 inches, maybe, yeah, 1.5 inches maximum. Tiny plastic overfill tube. So just be careful when you're going to be installing it. Do not over tighten, because you will break this, and then you ended up going where? Towing your car for dealership. Not changing the fluid, I think every 30,000 or 3 years, I think it's a bad idea personally, because fluid gets dirty, it loses its ability to remove the heat, to lubricate, and as fluid gets older, it just deteriorates and causes the transmission to wear out faster, because once the fluid is dirty, it just, it speeds up the process of destroying transmission by itself, you know what I mean, because it's dirty. Just like engine oil, if you don't change, it's going to wear out your engine much quicker. So my recommendation, even dealership, even the manual discourages to do this, but it's better. It will not hurt anything in the transmission by having a fresh fluid every 3 years or every 30,000. On my car it's about 37,000 right now. I should have done it earlier, but next time I'm going to be changing around probably 60,000 approaching, or 3 years, whichever comes first. So stay tuned. Actually, I will be talking more about this. I'm going to find where exactly this little O-ring is either inside the oil pan that it's stuck, or it's inside this drain pan that I have to, I'm going to drain back, see how much came out, and we'll go from there. So I drained all the fluid into my empty containers, quarts. So as you can see, I have 2 quarts and about 2 quarts and 8 ounces. So that's what came out. It's black, so definitely need to be replaced. About that O-ring that I was talking about, I couldn't find it. I looked, I lifted the car up a little bit more, trying to see where that could be. I'm not sure if it wasn't. What I'm thinking, it might not have been installed from the factory, because I could not find it when it was assembled, and so that's possibility. You know what I mean? People make mistakes, and this is, I'm going to show you. I put the O-ring on this overflow tube. Hopefully you can see it. So this is what it looks like. And if you look inside drain plug hole, there is actually a space for O-ring. Actually, there is like a cutout, so it goes in and pretty much stops it. And don't over time, because it's plastic, and you will snap it, and you will end up going to the, replacing their oil pan, or end up going and take it to the dealership for them to work on it. So take your time. Watch my videos as many times as you like to. Take notes, whatever it takes, but it can be done. If dealership can do it, a technician can do it, you can do it too. So I'm gonna put it back and start filling up. I'm gonna show you the steps, and you'll get to see it. So next step, now I have the overflow tube is back in a oil pan, transmission oil pan. Drain plug is still right there on the board. I haven't put in. I'll put in once right there. As you can see, it's right there. Right there is the oil drain plug. So that will be put in once I start filling in. Since I drain about 2.8 ounces, 2 quarts and 8 ounces of fluid, I'm gonna put back about 2.5 quarts. Any excess will come out. I will show you how. So now I'm gonna right there, the refill plug. This is the refill plug. I'm gonna use, trying to use this funnel that I showed you earlier. You can use whatever works, you know, fluid transfer pumps, whatever works for you, you know what I mean, it's your call. And I'm gonna put a quart in, 1 quart. Once the fluid is in, once the 1 quart is in, and I see that it's dripping from overflow tube, I will stop pouring, and then I will put the drain plug back and refill all the way with 2.5 quarts of ATF. So that's my next step. This is what the manual calls for it. You leave the drain plug off the oil pan, put some in, when it starts dripping, put it back, refill with the required amount, and then we'll follow the next steps. So now I have the oil plugs, refill plug is back in its place, drain plug is back, I have the added correct amount of fluid. Start the engine, let it run for a little bit, then shift from park to drive, from P to drive, back on and off. Let it continue, let the engine run until it warms up. Using, as I previously stated, infrared thermometer, I'm going to measure oil pan, transmission oil pan temperature. It should be between 103 or 104 and 113 or 114 Fahrenheit temperature. Once we reach that temperature, I'm going to shut the engine off, and I'm going to perform the next step to verify the correct amount of fluid and the temperature of the engine. So this is the temperature I got. I don't know if you can see or not, depending on the angle. 102 degrees on the transmission oil pan. So with this temperature, I'm going to proceed to the next steps. I'm going to get inside. I'm going to connect. I will show you what I'm talking about. So let's go to the next step. Let's see. Next step is we're going to need this piece right here, and we're going to connect pins DL on DLC3, pin 4 and pin 13. So let's get inside. So this is the tool that I was talking about that I purchased online. So now with engine off, just remember engine has to be off. I connected a pin 4 and pin 13 using this tool. So if you can see, I don't know, up close, there is a, trying to see, here there is a number says it's 8. So this is a pin 8. So the bottom from right to left they count. So pin 4, the bottom cable connected, and pin 13, the upper. As you can see, you can count, you can sure double check before you do anything. Then we're gonna start the car, and we'll follow the next set of rules or steps. Now the next steps we're gonna take. I had ignition off. I connected those wires as I showed you, those pins to appropriate 4 and 13. Now I'm gonna put ignition back. I just put the key back in ignition. I'm gonna start the car with a brake, with a foot on the brake pedal, with a foot on the brake pedal. Put a foot on the brake pedal. And then I'm gonna slowly shift my lever from parking to P to D, back and forth for a little bit, and then I'm gonna shift between neutral and D for about 6 seconds in intervals of 1.5 seconds. So neutral and D, neutral and D, neutral and D, neutral and D. So this will cause the, we'll see what happens. So the light right there, the D light, is on while car is in neutral, meaning we have the correct temperature of the transmission fluid. So next step, I'm gonna pour from neutral, I'm gonna put it back to P. You see the light still on D? Now I'm gonna disconnect those cables, not the cable, those pins from the bottom. The light is blinking. Blinking light right there, if you can see. That means the temperature of the fluid is about normal. So as you can see, it's blinking. That means my temperature fluid is about normal. So what I'm gonna have to do, I have to shut the engine down, let it cool down, and go to the same again. So I'm gonna repeat the same steps again. I'm gonna start the car, cables connected, or the wires to the pins 4 and 13, foot on the brake pedal, and I'm gonna shift P to D to N to neutral, and back and forth until the light comes on. See, light came on, D, light is on. So now I'm gonna put in park. The light is staying on, so that means the temperature is correct. Now I'm gonna go under the car and I'm gonna remove the drain plug, and any excess of oil is gonna come out. This is it. But I will all the drain plug, refill plug, it's all back with new washers. But I'm gonna check one more time again, take my time. I will give you details on how to do it again without, going back and forth and running. So first step, what you have to do, get the engine warmed up, check the temperature, make sure it's like around 100 degrees Fahrenheit with your thermometer before you start doing anything. Then the next step would be to turn the car off, connect pin 4 and 13 with that 2-wire tool, press the brake, start the car. You gotta follow those steps, otherwise it's not gonna work. After car is running, shift from P to drive, then from drive to neutral for about six times with no longer than 1.5 seconds in between. Once you get the light on the dashboard D blinking or comes on for 2 seconds, then your next step would be to put from neutral to park, release the pedal, remove 2-wire tool, and let the engine idle. The D light will come again. Either it's going to be blinking or it's going to stay on continuously. If it's on continuously, it means that the transmission fluid is the right temperature, and now you can go under the car, remove the drain plug, and release any extra fluid that is there. If the light is blinking, that means you're above the temperature. That means you have to shut the engine off and perform the same steps again. If the light does not come on, the D light on the dashboard, it means temperature is not there yet. While the engine is running, in park, you let go of the extra fluid until it starts dripping slowly. When it starts dripping, that means you gotta move fast actually before it reaches the higher temperature, and then you gotta do it again, so you don't drain too much fluid. So what else can I tell you about this? Once it starts dripping, put the drain plug back, make sure you have a new washer, and that's it, Test drive it. Once you put a plug back, turn it off, put the wheel on, test drive it, see, make sure you put that cover, plastic cover back, the two 10mm bolts. And that's it, can be done. It takes time. I'm checking the fluid, make sure it's the right temperature and make sure it drains, It takes practice, You might do it in first time. I'm gonna do it third time probably, because you gotta work fast, because if it reaches about the certain temperature, then lights are blinking, and you kind of, you know what I mean, you don't want to have temperature above and drain more than you should from transmission. But the other case, you know what I mean, if you think it's too hot, you got it was normal, then it went too hot, you know what I mean, you can always add a little bit extra if you know how much came out, just, you know what I mean, maybe an ounce or so to maximum, you know what I mean, I don't know, it's your call how you want to do it, but this is it, that's how it's being done. This is the steps defined in a repair manual, Toyotas. You can actually get it from tis.toyota.com, or you can watch my videos, you know what I mean, and let me know what you think. Hopefully find this helpful, because I could not find anyone doing it for Toyota, any Toyotas or Lexus with WS transmission fluid. Seems like even when I was buying the transmission fluid, the dealership was discouraging me from doing this, because thinking that I'm not gonna able to, finish the job that I started. But you can see I done it, and you can do it too. Thanks for watching, and watch my videos in the near future, maybe by the end of this year, I'm not sure, maybe in the next month, maybe in the 2, we'll see. I'm going to be doing transmission fluid change on Toyota vehicle with 3.5 or 5.7 engine size. So I'm not sure what it's going to be yet, but you'll find out yourself. Thanks, enjoy.